Greetings, Algo artisans. Is Trump pro-Bitcoin and anti-central bank digital currency?
Bing, bing, bing. Bum, bum. I love you very much.
Maybe. He has talked about CBDCs, hasn't really talked about Bitcoin recently. The only thing we have on record was not positive, but that's also a while ago. We're going to talk about what might be coming next right now. In the meantime, please like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow, and follow me on X. This helps us get more content out to you. So we're going to start with an article here called Why Embracing Bitcoin Be a Low-Risk, High-Reward Strategy for Trump. And this is an article, Fortune Crypto, and this discusses how this might be a good move. And it starts out regarding some things he said about a CBDC. We're going to look at that clip here in just a minute. First, let's define what a CBDC is. It's a central bank digital currency, right? And I'll go ahead and use the article's definition here. It says, in short, a CBDC is a digital dollar created by the federal government. This may sound benign at first, but effectively given the government, digital control over consumer bank accounts has profound implications for privacy and freedom. I think I'm going to correct Fortune Crypto. I think I'm going to correct Fortune Crypto just a little bit here, because the CBDC in the case that we're talking about in the U.S. might be created by the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not the federal government. The Federal Reserve is about as federal as the Federal Express. So if you don't like the idea of the federal government having control over your money, you really probably don't want to like the idea of something that is not even our government and yet is a group of private central banks controlling our money, because they probably have even less interest in us than the federal government does. And that's if you think the federal government has a ton of interest in ours in the first place. Now, I believe that the federal government does things in our interest when those interests align with the federal government. I think the same is the case for the Federal Reserve, except we elect the federal government, even though there, are questions about that too, but we have no say in who is running the Federal Reserve. We have no say in what member banks make up the Federal Reserve. So I would prefer the federal government have control than a private central bank. And right now, I would prefer the current system to a CBDC, because a CBDC has some implications here. And this article does talk about programmable features. And for those of you who are still learning about CBDCs, I know this sounds a little crazy, but it actually could be a very exploitable control mechanism for the population. For example, let's just say that the people in charge do not want us watching a particular show on YouTube. Maybe Joe Rogan, let's say, even though he's not on YouTube, but you get the point. Well, what could happen in a very terrible situation, a very far out, but maybe not so far out scenario, is that, oh, you watched Joe Rogan, or you sent Joe Rogan money. We don't agree with Joe Rogan, and we're going to shut off your money. Or perhaps, what if you violate some law, like a speeding ticket, something like that, and the money just comes out of your account? You don't have a chance to fight it in court. You don't have a chance to do anything about it, and they could just take the money. In the current world, depending on what state you're in, it may be that you can go ahead and go fight it in court, and they can't just take the money out of your account. And these are just minor examples of the controls that could be exerted. Now, I'm not saying that that's the plan. I'm not saying that that's not the plan. We don't know what the plan is, but these are the current concerns about CBDCs. What did Trump say about them? Well, if you've been watching, this CoinDesk article has a video with Trump, and this is a pretty well-known video by now, because this was a few weeks ago, like 2.5 weeks ago. But he does talk to an audience about CBDCs and how he would or would not allow them to be. So let's go ahead and watch.
Tonight, I'm also making another promise to protect Americans from government tyranny. As your president, I will never allow the creation of a central bank digital currency. You know about that? I didn't know you know so much. I'm very well. New Hampshire, very smart people. Very.
Of course, here he goes, pander to New Hampshire. Okay, that's fine. He's a politician. But here we go. The last bit here is important, so let's let him finish here.
Current. You know what they're doing. Such a currency would give a federal government, our federal government, the absolute control over your money. They could take your money. You wouldn't even know it was gone. This would be a dangerous threat to freedom, and I will stop it.
I'm going to tell you right now, I am not a Trump fanboy. Not even talking about who I would vote for or wouldn't vote for, although I cannot disagree with the statement he just made. It's a dangerous precedent. Do I think the government would do such a thing? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not, but I don't want that possibility to be in place. So let's move on and look at what's been happening with some politicians in the run-up to the current election. There's a Blockworks article here that says presidential hopefuls are getting louder on crypto issues, at least for now. Now, this is an older article. This is about 3 or 4 months old, but what we're seeing here is that the crypto issue is becoming part of the way that the potential next president might be trying to gather some voters, right? So let's read the article here. Cryptocurrencies have emerged as one of the more popular topics in the early days of the 2024 US presidential election, but the trend might not last through the primaries, okay? So it says here, so far, several candidates are vying for the Republican nomination, including Vivek Ramaswamy and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis have commented quite favorably on the digital asset space. Well, now that we are several months ahead of this article, we know that both of those individuals are no longer in the race. We also know that Trump hasn't said anything yet. So that doesn't support the argument that Trump may be friendly to cryptocurrencies. However, we do see here that the conversation has been in play, and Ramaswamy, whether you trust him or not, has made some points regarding the current system and how cryptos might help. He says here, the problem with agencies like the US Federal Reserve or the SEC is when you have a bunch of people showing up to work who should have never had the job in the first place. One of my chief issues with agencies like FDA, SEC is this regulation enforcement paradigm where they refuse to pre-specify what the rules really are, but demonstrate what the rules are by picking who the bad apples are after the fact. Okay, yeah, he does talk about some important issues there. He also says that, and of course he's referring to crypto regulation, he's referring to the government not really giving clear guidance on crypto, and then, you know, people who get involved in it perhaps might be persecuted afterwards by laws that they may look up and be backward facing. And there are examples of this having happened in history, so we can't really fault Ramaswamy for saying such things. Now, he does go on to say, actually, this is DeSantis, goes on to say more than 50 million Americans engage with or own digital assets. Presidential candidates such as Vivek Ramaswamy are rightfully engaging with the crypto voter. Forgive me, that was not DeSantis. This was Kristen Smith, CEO of the Blockchain Association. So DeSantis did enter the conversation by linking digital asset issues to common Republican grievances, such as when he criticized a central bank digital currency at a July 2024 conference for its lack of privacy. Florida governor also promised to end Biden's war on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Okay, so we know that this is a hot button issue, and we know that it's a good way to gather the conservative vote. We also know that Trump has some very deep ties to some very important financial people, and the question really in the end is going to be, is that an issue that he is allowed to pick? And if he does pick it, would it upset the wrong people, or would it make enough people happy to where those few people who are upset are not going to be a problem? And of course, that's the calculus that every politician does, right, in choosing their issues. Let's take a look at what he actually has done, what Trump has actually done in the world of crypto. It does say here in another Fortune Crypto article that Donald Trump may be sitting on $500,000 in Ether that came from selling his widely mocked NFTs. And another article in the similar vein that we're not going to get into, but just so we can see here that Donald Trump just sabotaged his old NFT collections with his new NFT collection. So clearly Donald Trump is into NFTs, and it appears that he's leveraging NFTs to help boost his campaign and popularity. So it doesn't seem as if he is against crypto, as he is part of the ecosystem just by nature of these articles right here talking about his NFTs. So the question is going to be in the next, I'd say, let me see, it's January 30th today. I think if he's going to bring up cryptocurrency, it's going to be after the primaries, and it will probably be in the summertime if he brings up Bitcoin. And the question again is going to be, would supporting Bitcoin and being Bitcoin friendly, would that bring in enough voters to where whoever he upset by doing this are, is it a net positive? And even the people who he might upset are going to be part of the calculation, right? Because, hey, if he wants to get elected, he's got to say the right stuff. And let's not forget, Trump, like anybody else, is a politician. Would he say things that are Bitcoin friendly, but really not believe or mean them? It's possible. I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, hey, I like Trump. I dislike him less than pretty much any other politician out there, but in the end, he is a politician. So he might have, he might say what needs to be said in order to get elected. So interesting conversation. And again, his involvement with NFTs, his dislike of CBDCs, these are things that make me think the worm might turn from a couple of years ago when he said Bitcoin looks like a scam, right? And I can almost guarantee you that him saying, oh, this looks like a scam, that probably was to placate some of his people that back him. So if the people that back him say it's okay, go for it, we like crypto, we might see Trump back it. Right? Okay, that's all we got for today. I hope it helps. Please come over to www.algofactory.tech, and we'll be able to show you how we're able to use technical, we'll use the term methodology, to be able to predict the future price of a given asset, whether it be stock, cryptocurrency, Forex, anything like that, S&P 500. And again, nothing that we say is investment advice, but we are able to help people build a model to help predict the future price of items so that they can buy or sell them. And we are doing extremely well with this education. So please come see us, www.algofactory.tech. Trade your job, upgrade your life. See you on the next one. All right, hope you enjoyed the show. Please like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. On the screen there you can see our website, algofactory.tech. Step that QR code to take you straight there. I'm also very active on X. That's algo_factory777. We got TikTok and Rumble. In the meantime, we hope to see you over at the website. Come on over, trade your job, upgrade your life. We'll see you there.